Hey, Mila Falja, welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome back, Debbra Lupien from the
Hi,
Voice of the
everybody.
Akashic Records. Thank you, Deborah. So I was just telling Deborah, we're going to look into the disappearance of Amy Bradley. And I was telling Deborah that I, a long time ago, was aware of the story because I'm kind of a true crime fan and I listen to podcasts. And it's one of those classic whodunit, what happened stories, that comes up every once in a while. And I don't know why, but I brushed it off. And then I found a documentary has just been made and has just come out on, well, it's either Netflix, Hulu, Prime, one of those things. And I heard her brother be interviewed on a YouTube channel. It was some newsy crime kind of show that does a regular interview stuff, and got a little bit more of the story. And I thought, well, this is interesting. We should ask questions about this. So Deborah doesn't even know anything at all about this. She doesn't know who we're talking about. And I'm not going to fill her in except on as we go along, as it's appropriate. So if you don't know the story, I have not covered it, and I'm not going to tell it all up front. So if you want to put this on pause and go dig out the basic story, you can just Wikipedia it, and then come back and let's see what kind of information we can dig up. So her name is Amy Bradley. She was, I didn't have any details here. She was in her early 20s. I think she was maybe 26. And she was on a cruise with her mother and father and her brother. There were just the four in the family. Her mother and father worked in insurance and they won a prize from the company. And so they pulled some strings so that they could all go, but they had to stay in the same room. So there were four of them, and this room meant for two people. And so he was sleeping on the couch and she was sleeping on a cot, or, it was one of those things. And they were all adults, but it was a way to afford going on this cruise. And they were thrilled. They were young. Her brother's a couple of years younger than she. And she'd just gotten a puppy and had a new job, and everything was looking really good. And she disappeared. I mean, they had no idea what happened to her, where she went. So that's the basic story. I don't want to give too much away. So I have a question right off the bat from the start of it. When she got on the boat, was she preoccupied with personal problems?
Okay. So Amy Bradley, are you available to speak with us? Yes. Okay. So were you preoccupied with personal problems when you boarded the ship? No, she was excited, looking forward to the cruise and the adventures, because it was so improbable for their family that they would do this kind of a thing.
Right. So I'm sure she's aware there's rumors, and one of the rumors is that there was tension in the family. She had come out to them a while back, and they didn't receive it really well, is the rumor. How much truth is there to that?
So, Amy, is it true that you came out to your family and it was not well received? Yes. It was a bone of contention. That's how she would describe it.
She had a girlfriend that they were falling in and falling out with each other, patching things up, getting back together. And the impression I got was they were in a good place. Is that true?
So, Amy, is it true that you were in a good place with your girlfriend at the time? No. So, were you broken up? Yes, they were broken up.
Did she have a boyfriend?
Did you have a boyfriend? A male friend, but not a romantic friend.
Okay, so she was fully gay. She wasn't bi.
Would you
a distinction?
Yeah. Yeah, would you classify yourself as bi? No. So you were lesbian. Yes. We should
Okay.
ask, is she alive?
Well, wait, I got some questions.
Okay. Okay.
Let's not spoil the story. Um,
Okay.
can she describe the night that she disappeared? Let's start from the time when she was in the, like, I don't know if it was a bar or a disco. It was a big place with people dancing and lights and too much alcohol. And she and her brother, the parents went to bed. She and her brother were young, and they stayed and partied with the younger crowd. And she made acquaintance with a guy in the band. His nickname was Yellow, and that's what everybody called him. And she was seen talking to him a couple of different times. So starting with that time in the dancing in after hours, can she talk about the evening?
Yeah. So, Amy, could you tell us about the evening when you were talking to the guy in the band? They had some similar interests, so they hit it off and they were talking. It was very friendly, and she liked his energy. It was fun to be around. And it was a nice break from being with the parents, so that was fun. So what happened after that?
Did she make arrangements to go back and meet him later alone?
Did you make arrangements to go back and meet him afterwards? No, not specifically. They just expected they would see each other again in the normal course of, their activities.
So she headed back to the room, and she was sitting on the kind of a deckish balcony sort of situation outside the room. And her brother joined her for a while. She was out there smoking a cigarette and just sort of, I don't know, being drunk. and it got to like 4:30 in the morning, and her father woke up and he saw her out there, and he went back to sleep. And he woke up about half an hour later, and she was gone. She'd been wearing a white shirt with another shirt over it. The outer shirt was sitting on the chair, and the sliding door was open. She was never seen again. Where did she go?
So, Amy, you were sitting outside the room smoking, and then what happened? Where did you go? She was planning to go swimming. That's why she took the outer shirt off. She was going to go to the pool that was, I guess, the upper deck. So, did you go swimming? She didn't make it to the pool. So, did you run into somebody? Did you meet somebody? What happened? Tell us. Yeah, I see this big guy he came out of a room. It was a coincidence, or maybe he had been watching her. So, had he been watching you? Do you know? Yeah, he had been looking out the window. He saw her. So conveniently, he arranged to walk out of the room and bump into her as she's walking by. So they start talking.
Was it the guy next door in the next door room?
Was it the guy next door? She says yes. He looks to me like he's kind of hairy, darkish, tall, kind of broad, but not, like broad-shouldered, well-built. So, did you stop and talk to him? They did talk for a bit.
What was his name?
Could you tell us his name? He didn't tell her his name. So they talked for a bit, and then what? Can you show me? It looks like he pulled her into the room. And, you know. So he physically assaulted you in the room? Yes.
Did he throw her over the balcony?
She was just showing me that that's what it looks like. It looks like she passed out at some point. And so now he's thinking, oh God, what am I going to do with her?
Oh,
She's already,
did he strangle her or something?
she passed out. I think it was a combo of the trauma, physical trauma, and the drinking earlier. So she passed out. And he just decided it would be easy to get rid of her by dumping her over the rail. And the light hadn't come up yet. There was still enough darkness that he could do that.
So is she aware of the stories that have circulated about her?
So, Amy, do you know about the stories that people have said about you? Sure, she kind of keeps tabs on those things.
Okay, so it's the alternative narrative is that she met up with that guy, the band guy, Yellow, and arranged to he got her off the boat. They were coming into port already before she disappeared, and they were going to park the boat. I don't know if that's the right term. We're going to park the boat and then go. They were on Curacao and walk around the town the next day with her family. Well, later that day with her family, because it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. And he convinced her, this is the story, he either forced her or sweet talked her into going off the boat with him. And they took off. And she was put into trade.
Yeah.
And held as still there. And she'd been spotted a few times. That wasn't her.
Well, let's ask. So, Amy, can you tell us? There's a story that you were planning to run off with the guy from the band, and that maybe you were put into service and that you're out there somewhere being abused. Is that true? Are you still out there? Did you go off with the man from the band? No. She said she liked the guy from the band. He was a very nice man. And they could have been friends if she had stayed around. But so could you validate for us that you have crossed over? Is that true? Yeah. She's long gone, she says, and well away from all of that stuff. She finds it fascinating that people are still spinning all these stories about her. And she's like, I wasn't all that interesting of a person when I was alive. So it's really fascinating that now she is.
Well, there's some eerie coincidences, if indeed they're coincidences. There was a woman in a restaurant, a coffee shop, a bar, something like that. And she went into the bathroom. And there was this other woman, she's claiming it was Amy, who was very upset and told her name was Amy and kind of indicated that she was being held against her will. But then two thuggish guys came in and took her away. There's another story of a guy that was on the beach and he sees people walking down the beach, and it was her with these two thuggish guys. And then there's another story, an American military guy who was not supposed to be in the bar that he went into. It was one of those off limits, too much crime, you're not supposed to go there. Yeah. And when he was sitting drinking by himself, this young woman who was part of the trade going on in the bar, if you get my drift, told him that she had been kidnapped and was being held, and she didn't know what to do because she had kids and she couldn't get away without leaving the kids, and she didn't want to leave the kids. And there's a picture of her because they had like an advertising pamphlet, which is really kind of gross, you know, and it looks just like her. And the FBI did facial analysis on her and said it was her. So the reason I think everybody is so intrigued is those stories. And her parents are, they've never her mother has an office set up in the bedroom and works on it 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So that's why. Is there any evidence or proof that could be given to the authorities that would give her parents peace, put the story to rest?
So, Amy, is there any evidence out there that could help to solve the crime and give your parents peace? She said, no, this was a truly vanished without a trace because they're at sea.
The guy that did it, there was a guy right next door to her parents' room who was some kind of a computer guy, but he didn't fit the description of what you described. And he had been friendly to her. You know, they could see each other across the balcony. It wasn't completely blocked, and so they would talk, and they'd been friendly. So of course he came under suspicion, just proximity, you know, but there was never any reason to, there was never any proof, never any evidence. But he wasn't hairy and big. He was kind of nerdy and, you know, a tech guy. Is that the guy she means?
So, Amy, can you tell us the guy that you had talked to who was kind of nerdy and a tech person, is he the person who assaulted you? No. No, there was another guy. And
How
he's
hard?
somebody he's kind of nondescript. He can disappear in a crowd because it's hard to describe, but he doesn't have the kind of features that stand out. He
Yeah.
looks like every man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There must be a roster, a list of passengers and where they stayed. They must be able to. Why would they not do that? They must have. They have the FBI in. You know, they know how to investigate, a kidnapping.
Well, the thing is, we have seen how many cases where they did not properly follow protocol and they blew it because they didn't uncover the leads that might have been there. But when it's
They didn't
something
get.
like that at sea,
Yeah.
where's
Well, they
the
were
evidence
actually
is gone.
they were coming into port. Her body never surfaced, which is very unusual. I mean, the guys that were the expert, like the harbor authorities, were saying if her body went in the water, we would have found it because of the way the currents are and the way the shape of the coast is.
She says, I got one word for you. Seafood.
Yeah. Yeah. Ew. Ew.
Well, she's not upset by it. It's just kind of matter of fact to her at this point.
Yeah.
But that's why.
Does she have any message for her family?
So, Amy, is there a message that you'd like to share with your family? She said, it turned out the way it ought to have because they had their problems. Her life was not going in a good direction at that point, and she's not unhappy. It worked out for her. She's okay.
Is she back yet?
So, have you reincarnated, Amy? No, too soon. Yeah, she doesn't want to come into this mess.
Does she have a bunk bed? I know. I know how she feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't really have any other questions. I had a lot of questions, but they were predicated on her having been sold into trafficking. And
Well, let's ask about that. So, can you help us understand what is going on? Why are these sightings happening where people keep seeing you? And even the FBI thought that there was a picture of you. She says, well, do you remember the Madeline McCann case? There were so many sightings. And they weren't her. People see what they want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's a puzzle they have to solve. There's a compulsion. So they see things that aren't really there.
Memory is tricky because once you've decided you've seen something, it feels like a real memory.
Yeah.
And eyewitnesses are notoriously unreliable. I saw the most interesting study where they had a bunch of college students in a classroom, and this was a psychology class. It was all set up for this to happen. So they're all sitting towards the front of the room and they're listening to the professor lecture, and suddenly a guy comes in. I forget what he does. He does something really aggressive. He comes in and hits somebody, but it was a setup, right?
Yeah.
And runs out. So the police come and they're asking all these kids, these college students, what did you see? Describe the guy you saw. I'm getting the hiccups. It was all over the book. I mean, there was just no consistency, and they saw all kinds of remarkable things that didn't happen. Yeah, it was interesting.
I wonder if that is connected to what your preconceived notion of a bad person looks like. And then you imprint that
Oh, I'm
on the
sure.
person you
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. A lot of false allegations about people of other races, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
So
guess that's
when did this happen? Do we have a date? How
yes.
long ago?
Well, I don't have it written down. It happened in the late '90s. Oh, maybe
Okay.
early 2000. Well, hang on. Let me for sure find out. I just turned my phone off because I'm a
So
dope.
more than 20 years ago. That's a long time.
It happened a long time ago. It doesn't look all that long. 98. March of 98. Oh, I should show you her picture. What am I doing? It's kind of fuzzy.
She looks like an athletic girl.
She was just cute. And she was kind of a, smart, not like super rich or anything, but here's a better version of that picture. Oh, I have one more question. I just thought of a question. So these pictures, they took some family pictures on the boat. They had a boat photographer who went around and took pictures and then displayed them in the office that
Oh,
was allocated. And you could go, and if you liked them, you could buy them. And if you didn't like them, que sera, right? So they went to get the picture of her because they'd all had their picture taken that night. And they were all gone. Pictures of her and her family were gone. And
wow.
the authorities were coming to get them. The authorities did not take them. The boat company was very uncooperative, very uncooperative. They told the family, we're here at the harbor. We can't, the parents wanted them to lock the boat. Don't let anybody leave. Let's interrogate everybody. Let's get the FBI in here. And the cruise company, their attitude is, these people are on their vacation. We'd lose a lot of money if we did that. We can't do that. It's going to spread panic and, and they just let everybody off the boat to go wander around for the day. Weird. So that's the story
Makes
of Amy
sense.
Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we solved that. It's a sad story, but it's actually, I have to be honest, it's less sad than the alternative.
Oh, yeah. But
Right?
that's a lot of years. I don't think she'd still be in service if she had gone the other direction.
No, those sightings were earlier on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, much earlier on. I probably could have written a timeline and been professional about this, but why set a precedent?
No, it was fine. It was breadcrumbs. Let's follow
Yeah.
the trail. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the shortest video we've ever made.
Yeah. It just hits me that I personally have no interest in ever taking a cruise. I don't want to be on a ship in the middle of the ocean. And stories like that.
Have you seen the video, the documentary? Poop Cruise or Poop Ship? Poop Cruise?
No.
Oh my God. You have to watch it. I'm not going to spoil the fun. You need to watch that. It's out there on one of those streaming services. You will never go on a cruise for the rest of your life. There's no way. I can't imagine being incarcerated with thousands of complete strangers, most of them drunk. And the only option is to overeat stuff that I'm trying not to eat. Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I'm no longer a social butterfly. Too bad for society. Yeah, I can't picture you on a cruise.
It's like being trapped,
If I went on a cruise, like if I were super rich and I was just going to go on a cruise, I would be more interested in doing one of those Scandinavian cruises that's put on by the National Geographic or the Smithsonian, and they actually have classes on the
Hmm.
boat, and they'll go to a Viking town and then you'll take a class about it. I could see doing that, or I could see doing a language cruise where you were doing an intensive study of a language. The problem with that, which I haven't traveled very much, but I got to tell you, Americans abroad are quite a sight. There are the people that run around in I Heart New York and Stetsons and tennis shoes.
Yeah.
That's a Europeans look at them like, oh my God. Then there are the wealthy couples, the retired early wealthy couples who hate everybody and everything because they're better than that. Oh my God, it's so bad, Deborah. Incredibly bad. And I think if you were on one of those sort of exclusive, expensive cruises, you would be thrown up against people like that, and that would be a horrible experience.
Yeah. Not fun.
I'm not the kind of person who would ever take like one of those bus tours. Never in a million years. I can't even imagine. Yeah. My mother-in-law used to take them all the time. That tells you everything you need to know. Thank you, everybody, for
You are
watching.
welcome.
Got a mystery you need solved? Deborah's your woman. Okay, thanks, Deborah. And we'll be getting back together here again in a second to solve another
Yes.
crime for humanity.
Very
So,
soon. Thank you. Bye.
Slancha.